everybody. Welcome to another edition of Talking Elite Fitness. Tommy Marquez here alongside Lauren Kalil. Sean Woodland is on assignment / getting the day off / always just busy. So it'll be just us two while the grown-up is in the room is away. Lauren, first and foremost, seems like you're actually in some good weather for a change. How you doing?
I know, I'm great. It's funny when I'm in better weather than you and Sean because you guys always have the beautiful California weather of it's 70 and sunny every day, but you're actually in more layers than I am for once. So I'm in Florida at my parents' condo for just a quick day and a half before another work trip. And the weather here is excellent, not a cloud in the sky, and it's almost 80.
It is 45 and rainy and windy here. We got
It gets to the 40s there?
Oh yeah, it was 39 degrees when I woke up this morning.
Oh man.
Yeah,
I don't think that your blood is thick enough for that.
I mean, yeah, I'm a closer to the equator type person in terms of weather climates, but I can handle both in moderation for sure.
Incredible.
But yeah, exactly. Well, we do have some stuff to talk about. We'll be joined in just a little bit by a friend of the program and one of the fittest dudes walking this planet, Dallin Pepper. We have a little bit of open registration and open talk with some new athletes being announced, some more action on WFP side, and really the kickoff to 2026 is just about a week away if you're listening to this. But before we get to that, we want to say thanks to our sponsor for today and always, Thirdzy. If you haven't tried Thirdzy yet, seriously, what are you doing? Go right now. Give it a try. Thirdzy has been a longtime partner and presenting sponsor for this show. And I can say without a doubt, it is one of the best products I have ever tried. I am a regular user, both me and my wife. The best part of it, if you want to sleep better, recover better, you don't have to worry about things like melatonin and affecting hormones. It is melatonin free. It'll help you get more deep sleep and REM. You wake up better recovered, more fully charged. You have ingredients like GABA, L-theanine, clinically proven to improve the quality of your sleep. Plus, you get 10 grams of hydrolyzed collagen to boot, all in one beautiful, simple, and delicious package. It's been used by Jason Grubb, everyone here on the show. He's the 6-time CrossFit Games Masters champion, and it has been an absolute game changer for me just in my daily routine with someone who's just trying to get better sleep, given the fact that we recently grew a human and our sleep patterns have disrupted as well. So whether you're on the road like Lauren, traveling to different competitions and events, they've got little travel packets for you,
They're the best.
or you just had a heavy training day and you want to boost your recovery a little bit, add some extra protein, some collagen in there, and some science-backed supplements to help calm the central nervous system and ease you into a better night's sleep. You can head on over to thirdzy.com, check out anything on their products list. Use the code TEF and you are going to get the best deal always. They just got done with their Valentine's Day program with 30% off, but use TEF or scan the code on your screen if you're watching on YouTube, and you can get the best deal possible, 20% off, and plus any promo that you see running from Thirdzy, our code automatically uploads for that as well. So once again, if you want to get a better night's rest, go to thirdzy.com, use the code TEF for a better night's sleep and to support our wonderful partners of this show. All right, Lauren, quick little open update. If anyone hasn't been following along, every day Mike Halpin of Known and Noble posts some updates to open registration, where it's tracking, as well as some interesting tidbits from the data set of people that are signing up currently. So just to give a quick update, as of today, about 3 hours ago, we're recording this on Wednesday, 8 days from the start of the open, 128,149 people have registered. That is a 28.7% year over year increase. Now, Lauren, that number's starting to go down a little bit. I'm not sure if you've checked in with the graph. If you can kind of see, based on, he provides another screenshot of where we are relative to everyone else. Right now, at that 128 last year. And 2025, they're barely about to hit 100,000, but we're still trending well behind 2022, 23, 24. And his chat GPT estimation puts us at about 245, 250. Is that a win still?
I think I think it's all managing expectations, right? I think
Yeah.
that some people will say, it's only a win if every single year we go up, up, up. But I think then there's other people that will say, if we do better than last year and get back on track to have a higher trajectory from this point on, that's a better way to determine whether it's successful or not. And I think also with Wodapalooza, and we'll talk about it in a bit, but with Wodapalooza having the last week's announcement there, I do wonder if then as we get closer, I mean, we're a week and a day away from the Open, but if people are finalizing those plans and they decide, you know what, I really want to do the Open workout at Wodapalooza, maybe that will encourage some people that the last push. For some reason in my mind, I think that, every year for the Open, we see a massive push last minute as people are getting in those scores before the deadline on Monday. I wonder if we'll see the biggest push yet because of the tie to Wodapalooza and because so many people go there and they want to be able to do an Open workout basically on the beach, which for a lot of people is a really
Yeah.
fun, cool fitness goal to have.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, if anyone's been following along with the graph, the big charge is still yet to come. The massive push to the finish for everyone that is delayed in getting signed up. You see massive swings. I mean, based on the estimation right now, we could see double the total amount of registrants from now until effectively 12 days, about, usually, because registration count closes the Monday
Mhm.
of after the first Open workout, when registration for that particular or when submission window for that ends. So there's still a ton of possibilities. I'm genuinely interested to see where it's at, because there was such a huge regression, and whether or not people internally are just viewing this as a stepping stone, right? Because I think the instinct is it automatically has to get back to where it was. Whereas we saw this in 2021 and even 2022, where, hey, if you're coming off a really, really down year, the goal is just to start make incremental jumps, right? You don't have to get all of what was lost back in one fell swoop. Let's get
Yeah.
15%. Let's get 20%, and be content with that, and use that as a rallying point to build for it. And I'm pretty sure that's what's going to be, shared amongst the halls of HQ at this point, given that last year was such a down year and such a drastic change, given everything that transpired. And one thing that Mahalpin did note, though, is that the percentage of new registrants, and he was comparing this to previous years. Obviously, in the early years, he has it from every year the Open. The early years, 2011, obviously, is all new registrants. 2012. 2013, 2014, those first handful of years, you're going to get a ton of new registration as the sport grows. But we did see a lot of returning athletes, particularly in 2020,
Mhm.
2021. But then we started to see the numbers climb, and it pretty consistently hung around in the 30s. Now, last year it dropped to 27%. Right now we're sitting at 29.1%. So a higher number relative to like 22, 23, 24 of people are coming back versus new. I think we'll kind of have to wait and see on what the final numbers are to like really make a judgment on it, because I do think there is some inertia just like, I've done it before. This is what I always do. My gym's doing it, so yeah, I'll
Sure.
sign up.
And one more thing that I do love to see that I think in the past has been somewhat a miss and a breakdown between the sport and the methodology is you didn't really see a ton, and maybe it's not even a ton, but maybe it's just been on my feed, but you didn't really see CrossFit Games athletes getting involved with their affiliate on the intramurals and rallying behind it, because that is part of their season. So they treat it as part of their season. But I saw that Chris Ibarra and
Mhm.
Olivia Kerstetter at their local affiliate, both of them are on, Team Red and Team Blue during the Open. And I think that that is also a great way to, hey, look at these two great games athletes, big up and comers that, Olivia finished third at the CrossFit Games on the podium. what better way to rally in your troops than to have them at the forefront? So I think from a marketing strategy, that was great for them. Great on
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. I've got two thoughts on that. One, I think that was more prevalent before the sanctionals years, and I think in right before the transition to super regionals in 2015, when
Yeah.
the pressure to get to regionals out of the open became much more difficult and much more heavy. So I think where you are getting back to some of what you might have seen in 2011, 2012, 2013. But also, I think this is one of the benefits of the additions of quarterfinals, right? You're not
Mhm.
jumping directly into semifinals. You have an extra added layer where the filtering point for quarterfinals isn't as restrictive. So athletes don't feel as much of a pressure or need to perform as high relative to their peers as they did in the past. So knowing that, hey,
Yeah.
I can dial it back a little bit and still make quarterfinals no problem. That's a little bit of a guardrail for me to be able to go out and do something like that, where my focus otherwise might be like super hyper intent on, setting everything up perfectly so I can make sure I could get to regionals like you saw in some of the later years and under the previous system. So I do think that
Mhm.
addition of quarterfinals definitely makes that more possible, which is fun,
Yeah.
for sure.
Dangles the carrot for more people too.
Yeah. A couple of quick news items we're going to get to before we jump in to our interview. So 26.3 athletes were announced. You mentioned one of them just a second ago. Olivia Kerstetter, Danielle Brandon, and Ariel Lowen will be
Great matchup.
representing and throwing down in Miami at Wadapalooza. It's an awesome matchup. And of course, I believe it's going to be all in conjunction with that wonderful event, as Wadapalooza is always a great time out. Uh, Speaking of Ariel Lowen, she was also included in the newest list of athletes that World Fitness Project announced have signed their pro contracts. The 7 new women were Ariel Lowen, Hannah Black, Manon Angones, Ella Wilkinson, Linda Caseman, and Fee Sagafi and Vor Termin Mo. Bunch of athletes that were heavily involved in the season, obviously, to earn their pro cards. Um, Vor and Fee and Linda, each just outside of that initial top 20 qualifying spots, but with some athletes turning down. Obviously, I believe, Brooke stepping aside, and she was in a top spot. Those opportunities get passed along the way and backfilled. Additionally, World Fitness Project just released qualifier workouts for everyone that is not a signed pro that wants to try and get into the pro ranks and get their
Oh, I think Tom. Oh, he's back.
for a second there, but I am back. You can go check those out at worldfitnessproject.com. And I believe some media, including all of that breakdown with Will Morad, is available out as well. And that actually leads us to our next section. Just call this fortuitous timing. We're kind of springing this. Originally, we weren't going to have him hop in live with our recording, but it butted up to this. This is a look behind the curtain. But we are joined now by fitness athlete extraordinaire, one of the fittest men on the planet, one of the co-hosts, co-influencers of the Boys Interrupted podcast. He is the most successful teenage athlete of all time, and just a decent dude all around. It is none other than Dallin Pepper. Dallin, how you
What's up,
doing,
guys?
buddy?
Hey, Dallin, how's it going?
Man, just busy, but it's good. It's good.
Yeah,
So it's not really before the storm for you. It's the busy before the busier.
It's like the storm before the long quiet storm. It's like kind of like winter is coming,
mm.
but it's actually the summer that's winter because that's when things get real long. Yeah, it's
We'll have to work
confusing.
on that. We'll have to work
Yeah.
on that analogy. I was thinking more like a hurricane, the exterior, when you pass into it,
Yeah.
it's really crazy. Then you get into the middle and it's calm again in the eye, and then it's crazy again as you pass out.
We'll go with that.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. But talking to that, why is right now the crazy part for you? I know we were kind of talking about like planning. We were trying to get this interview like
Yeah.
3 weeks ago, and you were all over the place. Like what's going on in your life right now?
Yeah, just all over. January, first half of February we moved late last year, so getting settled. But then also, went to a tier shoot for the new CXT3 that just came out. We got to do a bunch of work for that. We went on a big Alaska trip and San Jose trip with CrossFit, which was So much fun, but we were just go, go, go nonstop. And then the next 6 weeks are about to be probably the craziest of the year. This weekend, headed down to Las Vegas to do High Rocks with Jack Farlow. We'll do
Nice.
pro
awesome.
men's doubles. Gonna give Hunter McIntyre a run for his money.
I love it.
And then the following week, open announcement. Week after that, we're going to the boys. When I say we, it's usually the boys, but the Arnold at Rogue HQ. And then from there, straight to Miami to compete on Team GoWad at Wadapalooza. I'll have 7 days at home, and then we'll head up to Boise, and we'll be doing quarterfinals live on the Boys Interrupted. So, yeah.
Is this the busiest that you think you've ever been? I feel like there's so many really cool opportunities that you and like the boys and other CrossFit Games athletes have been a part of recently.
Yeah, every year I'm like, oh, this will probably be the busiest year yet. It'll calm down next year. And then like with last year, doing WFP and having so many of these other competitions, I was like, for sure that'll be the busiest I am. And then it's like, well, here we are this year. Same kind of thing, different events, but same kind of thing.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, you know, some of these engagements and these things that you're doing involve the Boys Interrupted crew and the podcast. And I think that's kind of we'll call it a more modern wrinkle, I think, to the life of an athlete is the content creation aspect that's become more prevalent in this, we'll call it post 2018 era, where media has become a little bit more dispersed. What's kind of the balance point for you? Because it seems like you could totally like spin yourself out doing all this. You're traveling basically for a month. You're doing all these media obligations and trying to build your own brand on top of that, but you still have to compete.
Right. Yeah. I think I always talk about balance in terms of you can do days, weeks, months, and a year and years at a time. And that kind of flows. Like come June, July, the content will probably slow down. Obviously, after semifinals, I'm not going anywhere. Like that's all those things come to an
Lock
end.
it down.
Yeah, exactly. But it's interesting. I think it used to be that people would look at the athletes who were doing media back in the like Matt Frazier era, and we'd see athletes that were focused on their media a lot, and they'd be like, "Oh, they're not taking competition as serious." And I think at that time you could get away with it. I mean, Matt's winning the CrossFit Games. Whoever wins the CrossFit Games immediately has 500,000-600,000 followers on Instagram, and you're set. You look at Jayson from this year; he won, and he went from 100 to 150,000, and that, like realistically, that stuff pays our bills. Like that's what a lot of brands are paying for, and it's a completely different age where you can't not be doing those things. And I also think the athletes that are spending the time to do that are trying to keep the sport growing, keep it fun and entertaining. And let's say all of us just stopped posting any media. Like no one cares about who they're going to root for. No one wants to go watch any athletes because they don't know anything about them. They don't have someone to root for. And when you're watching sports, if you don't have someone to root for, it's completely irrelevant. Like that's one of the cool parts about the Olympics. Everyone immediately, it doesn't matter what sport you're watching, you know who you're going to root for. Like the choice has been made for you, and that makes it exciting. Like I was watching curling last night, and I was getting fired up at Team Italy because all of a sudden I had this deep hatred for Italy's curling team, right? And without that side of it, it's just not as exciting. So I think it's really important that we continue to do those things, and as long as it doesn't pull away from the training and competing, because that will always take highest priority.
When you talk about trying to increase media and show your presence, because truly like before that, you had to rely on outside media and folks like us. And like, yes, we love doing that, but nobody's better at telling your own story than yourself. So when it comes to content pieces like the Boys Interrupted or things that you're doing independently, like when was a moment where it first trickled in your brain that, okay, maybe I should start to do this? And then how long went by before you actually pulled the trigger to initiate it? Because it can be intimidating because it is very different than doing what you do day in and day out at the gym as an athlete.
Yeah, I don't think it was boom, I need to be doing this. It's if you've followed me long enough or watched interviews long enough, I'm a completely different person than I was, 18, 19-year-old showing up at a semifinal for the first time. I believe I'm much more well-spoken, confident, and can actually carry on a conversation, if we want to put it that way. But yeah, that came with a lot of time and just being comfortable with who I am and being comfortable being uncomfortable. And like I was talking to an athlete the other day about some posts we were going to make, and they're like, "Oh, I feel so awkward posting this." I'm like, if it sucks, then no one's going to see it, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, it came with time, and with the podcast, it had been something we talked about for maybe a year, and originally Pat, Jayson, and I were kind of discussing it, and then Justin was kind of doing his podcast, and organically it came together. And I don't think many people thought we were going to make it past the first 3 episodes, but we're having so much fun doing it. And the easiest way to keep that stuff going is it's fun, organic, and doesn't take too much work. And that's always the stuff that does better. It's not the super well polished stuff. It's pull out your phone, you video something, say something, and post it, and see if it takes off. So
It's funny that you mentioned the difference in yourself, though. I would, having been able to like cover you when you were at, in the teenage ranks, and chatting with you. Even I remember we did a sit down at West Coast Classic in Vegas. You and James, and I honestly don't feel like there's been that much of a difference from you as a human. It just seems like the way you present yourself and how you feel comfortable in your own skin has changed. And I've always abided by like, you know, um, confidence in yourself is more so the lens between who you are internally and externally becoming clear. So basically, like who you are on the inside shows clear to the outside. Where was there like an inflection point where that changed for you? Because you were very soft spoken and maybe a little more quiet, confident.
yeah, I think that's a better way to put it, because I do believe I am the same person. I'm just able to present that better and show people who I really am. And honestly, I think it came with being down in Naples with that crew, and just being around so many different personalities and getting to do so many fun things. And whenever someone would come down to capture a weekend of training or whatever that might be, we all just brought out all these different sides of us, and it allowed me to just naturally feel more confident doing that.
And
I'm
I'll
actually
say,
ground. Sorry, I'm in
yeah.
Naples right now.
Oh, let's go visiting the brother.
Yeah, visiting the brother. He says
Man.
hello.
Yeah, tell him what's up. I always owe him big time for getting us on those golf courses. I'm not paying for those ones normally, but
Tommy's itching to get there too.
I'm still waiting on that. I'm still waiting on that perk there. 100+ podcasts later, still waiting on that one.
Yeah.
But one thing that really shown is your ability to like touch into some things that maybe aren't as talked about usually. And I think one thing that characterizes that when you talk about like your prize money and your earnings as an athlete, like you could maybe count on one hand the amount of people that would even broach that discussion honestly,
Oh yeah.
much less even publicly.
right.
Like what was the impetus behind that? How are you able to tap into that now?
I think we're always trying to. I think you look at athletes' YouTube channels and it's gonna be like what I eat in a day, a training day, or I don't know. There's one other that just like everyone just does. It's like the same 3 videos. Everyone posts them over and over and over. And I just want to do something different. I'm seeing all these recaps of the year, and I was like, oh, I should have done a recap on the year. Like, but what would I want to talk about? I don't want to do the same thing that everyone else is doing. And then I happened to be adding up my prize money for the year just to see after the finals in WFP, and I was like, oh, this would be interesting. I think people, anytime I see a reel or a YouTube video, it's like, this is how much I made as a landscaper, or like whatever it might be. I'm extremely interested. So I'm trying to pull ideas from other content creators and how can I make it fit into the CrossFit world. And it's funny because that video, one, all that information is public. So, and anyone could have found that, which is, I think is funny. And two, it was a little bit clickbaity because there are other sponsor obligations, that type of stuff that does play a role, but I'm not allowed to speak on that. But I was trying to be as open and transparent as I could, and it was fun, and it got people talking, and it did well. And I'm trying to continue to find different ideas that fit into that category.
So even when you look at, this push to create more content, be more transparent online, whatever it is, you do a podcast with the Boys Interrupted, and you guys are also competitors. And I'm so curious on what that shift looks like in your mind, going from bros and buddies to, hey, you guys won the CrossFit Games, but I also want to win the CrossFit Games.
Yeah.
Like, how do you separate those things? Because I do feel like a lot of athletes are not able to do that and do that genuinely.
Yeah, that's probably the toughest thing to explain, our relationship, four of us. Like each individual, and me and James, we go back the farthest.
Yeah.
It's very easy for James and I. Like 15 years old, we've been doing it for almost 10 years with each other now, under the same coach, at the top of the game, and training together for 2 or 3 years down in Florida. It comes pretty natural there. And then Jayson and I have probably gotten the closest over the last few years. And there's nobody I want to be more than Jayson. Like there's no one I could punch, no one I'd rather just like punch in the face, but also just give him a big old hug. And I can't always explain it. I cannot put it into words. And then Justin and I have continued. We've always had like a very mutual respect for each other, and just getting closer and closer and talking more and more over the years has been awesome to do. And the four of us, I would say they truly are the three of my best friends. And then I'm like, I step on the floor and I hate them. I won't talk to them for the whole weekend. And I'm like, how is it? Not many people have this at all. And I think one of the things that makes it possible is if you're playing football against somebody, there is physical altercation between the two people. I can do something that will affect your performance. Where when we step on the floor, there truly is nothing I can do to slow them down, to like beat them physically, physical contact. I mean, maybe like an elbow on a run, steel chalk, like whatever it might be, but it really just comes down to how fit you are. And I think that does allow for more of the friendship to happen. If we were fighting or, playing football against each other, it'd be a lot tougher. So.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that. I do think there is some mental element. There is some cat and mouse you can play on the competition floor, and we've seen it play out, at the games and stuff like that. But you're right. You don't have the physical contact with them, but there is a reactionary piece behind it. And I've always felt like, and I don't know, Lauren is maybe different. Honestly, I think sometimes for guys, like competitiveness with each other is a proxy for your like care and almost like affection for each other. It's like that's how it's
women are totally different creatures.
Yeah, I was gonna say the women's field is fun. It's fun to see the contrast at a briefing versus like it's me, Jayson, James, Justin, Ricky, Jay. We're all chilling up in a briefing, and you can hear Jason's laugh across the arena, and then the girls are just like spread out across the stands, not talking. And it's so good, and everyone just looks at us like we're crazy. And then there's one of my favorite things is one of the rookies this year. We were training a couple days from the games, and we went up to him, me and Jayson, and I was like, "Yo, I'm Dallin, first year, right? Like, great to meet you." And we're talking, and he's pretty short with us, and I was like, "You nervous?" And he's like, "No, it's just another competition." I was like, "No, it's not. You should be nervous." And I just walked away. Just like let him sit on that for a minute. And he was just like super short. And by day 2, he's in the bottom 5, and he kind of found his way over to us at the brief. And he starts cracking jokes a little bit, having some fun, making fun of himself. He's like, "I'm not walking out of here with any prize money in the bottom 5," like stuff like that. And you're quick to learn that it's a long weekend, and if you don't have some comedic relief, or if you don't separate at any point over those 3 or 4 days, it just makes it that much longer. And it was interesting to see that happen, because the rookies, same way when I was a rookie, it was like from check-in onward, and that's 6 days in 2022. I was like locked in. I was like, I ain't talking to nobody. and it made for a long, long weekend. So.
What a welcome! Like we call it the welcome to the NFL moment because that sport they talk about it all the time for the rookies. But like, what a welcome to the CrossFit Games moment for you to be standing there, maybe trying to get the last thruster work in or whatever it
Yeah,
may be, and Dallin and Jayson come up and just
just
shit-eating grin on their mouth.
Oh,
Oh, we lost him for a second.
oh.
And you're back.
oh, that was weird. No, I heard you the whole time, but yeah, dude, like I think we were really just trying to go up and introduce ourselves, and
Yeah,
uh, I think some of those rookie nerves struck in. I was like, hey, man, we're nervous. Like you can be nervous, it's okay. Like, and
yeah.
yeah, it's so good, it's fun, and I think we learned that from Pat and Brent.
Yeah.
The rookies need to be given some shit on those first couple days. So.
Do you feel that like almost responsibility to kind of carry the baton or carry the torch forward in terms of like setting the tone or kind of welcoming people to the sport in your own unique way? Because I'm always I'm always curious to know what your relationship is with prior generations athletes. Like obviously the one that came before you, Pat and Brent, they were kind of the torchbearers in many ways there. Justin's kind of bridging the gap a little bit. And I mean, when you were a teenager, you look at the athletes that were winning the games back there, whether it's Matt, and you even go back to like the Ben Smiths, the Riches, the Jasons, the Josh Bridges, and all those guys. And I don't know if there's the same brotherhood after the fact that you see in other sports.
Yeah, I think to answer your first question with like some of that responsibility, it's interesting because I still don't view myself like I've been to the games 4 times. Me and the boys talk about this all the time. Where I think Josh Bridges went 6 times, I want to say, and it was like Josh Bridges, wow, or like five or 6 times, and Justin's at 6, Jason's at 5, I'm at 4, and we're still pretty
Mhm.
early on. And it's like, whoa,
Mhm.
we're kind of like in it now. We've been doing this for a while. We're placing high, and so it's hard to wrap your brain around like taking on that role of those athletes. I don't think you notice it until it kind of passes by. But trying to make sure we don't do that. And then in terms of relationship with some of those older guys, like Pat and Brent are some of my closest friends. I talk to both of them weekly, whether it's just getting help or catching up with them. And it's been cool. Gotten pretty close with Josh Bridges over the years. And, Rich was in town for the big hunting expo up in Salt Lake,
Mhm.
ran up and did a little partner workout with him and Heaves. And,
Nice.
just like those guys are all awesome. And it's cool. We were with Josh this past summer, and he watched every event from every competition last year, whether it was WFP, the games, Wadapalooza. Man just loves the sport, and he's following along. He knows where we placed and what workouts, and just all those guys are awesome. Anytime we get a chance to see them, they're good dudes. So
Mhm. Okay, I love it.
And there's so many good dudes, but there's also so many fit dudes. When we look at specifically the men's side, the depth of field, this is probably the best that we've ever seen. Like with Tommy, Sean, and I talk about it all the time. There's like 7 or 8 guys that if somebody said, oh, they won the next CrossFit Games, we'd say, yeah, I'd believe that.
yeah,
So if everybody is getting 1% better, if everybody's doing what they need to do, how do you separate yourself? Like, has anybody been able to put their finger on what that actually is?
yeah. I guess you just got to get 2% better, huh? I
It's
think
that simple.
the name of the game is always everyone's improving. It's how can you just improve just a little bit quicker than everyone else.
Mhm.
And I think that's training smart, training effectively, and coming into competitions healthy. That's the number one thing. I think you beat half the field if you can come in healthy. And I mean, for me, we kind of know exactly what I need to work on. It's running and pressing. It's been that for years. And we made some good progress on the running, and then we kind of plateaued this past year. At the end of the year, wasn't able to get the gains. Like we moved up quite a few spots on a lot of running events, and we brought on a new running coach that I've been super excited about. And we've seen some really good results, and the whole running program is built around peaking that last week of July for the run, whatever that might be, at the ranch, the trail run. Like come on, we kind of know that's gonna be. But I think just being super detailed in that, like that coach is only focused on my running, which has been my biggest weakness, and those sessions take priority every single day. And then just continuing to train smart, trying to take advantage of this elevation. I finally feel normal, which is exciting, and hoping that that plays a big role. And then just continuing to learn and adapt. Me and Matt are always sending each other different reels or books or whatever it might be to just try and find one exercise or one type of training that could put us just a little bit ahead of everyone else.
Is any of your training powered by Corinne's sourdough or anything that she's baking in the house? Or is that strict off limits for you during
all of it? Games? All of it, yeah. And I wake up, it's bread in the morning. Snacks are going to be a blueberry bagel. Come off my run, it's a cinnamon roll and chocolate milk. Like, you gotta be fueled.
Oh man, damn!
Not a bad arrangement.
Not at all.
I didn't know it was like that.
I really wanted to try making these chocolate chip scones. I'm like, oh, I guess I'll try them. Let you know how they are.
No, you shouldn't have.
Yeah, and I mean, come off of an hour run or an hour bike, like you gotta get those calories in. Mm-hmm. So,
yeah. Well, you mentioned adjustments on like a micro level, right? Like you as an athlete, the individual movements, individual capacities, but there is a macro thing at play here now with the way the season, the calendar year plays out. I do want to dive into 2025 in just a few moments, but can you talk a little bit about your approach to 2026 with what you gained in 2025, given that WFP popped up, you did the season this past year, but there's going to be some changes, and what kind of guided that approach to make improvements from a schedule standpoint for yourself?
Yeah, I think you're asking in regards to basically what competitions I'm focusing on this year versus last year. Is that?
Yeah, and if there's a methodology behind that, because obviously performance is going to be the focus, and we heard from a bunch of people by the end of last year that they were pretty fried, right?
Yeah.
So you can improve by doing more running, but you can also improve by doing less and recovering more.
Right. I think one of the things is after SoCal, I got pretty messed up. I don't believe that was just from the Echo bike type of situation. It was a long year, and that dose of intensity in such a short period of time just kind of sent me over the edge. I was holding on. And I think, I guess the best way I could compare it is, you've heard of, I can't remember which billionaire does it, but he lays out the same pair of clothes every single day, and decision fatigue. I think that could play a role into, or that did play a role into kind of the decisions I made for this year, is the less is more type approach, and just really allowing myself to be very focused on a few things in my training and see if we can put them to the test at the games in Rogue. And that's kind of how we got to that point. So
yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, I do have I've got a hot take. I'm gonna post it on Instagram. I can't say it here, but
when are you posting it on Instagram?
Today or tomorrow. Either today or tomorrow. But
this is gonna post after that. So
it's gonna post after that. So we're not live. We're not live.
No, we're not. We're not live.
Okay.
We are recorded right now, so it's not live.
Okay. All right. My hot take, which you will now have seen on Instagram, is if you are not in a position to win the CrossFit Games and you are not doing WFP, you are stupid.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't know. Well,
I think people would disagree. I think there's semifinal athletes. I think there's bubble games athletes. I'm not doing WFP. I'm like, why would you not? Look at the prize money I made last year. Half of it came from WFP.
Yeah.
I've now pushed my chips in on the games in Rogue, but I'm one of maybe 8 athletes. So that's kind of what I think.
Yeah.
Like, why would you not try and go out, earn a pro card, win a bunch of money, and put yourself in a financial situation to where you are
Yeah.
then training full time and able to then hopefully put yourself in a situation to win some of these big events, whether it's WFP games or Rogue.
Mhm.
So,
And
Right,
I
because
guess that
if the bigger goal is to eventually win the CrossFit Games, if somebody's not there yet,
yeah.
I mean, can you speak to just how important having, yes, obviously, like the money is one thing, but also just the experience of going against other games athletes and people of that high caliber? You don't get to do that at that many competitions in person.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring up Ty Jenkins because I know Ty well. I
Mm,
love Ty.
yeah.
Ty, I believe, will be a top 10 athlete at the CrossFit Games this year, without a doubt.
Mhm.
I mean, there's those 8 of us or whatever, and he's going to be fighting with a lot of us. And he's doing WFP this year. He's going to go out. He's going to collect his money. He's going to get a ton of competition experience against some of the best in the world, and he's going to continue to improve throughout the entire year. Then you see, I mean, we don't know what the games or WFP are going to look like in 2027. Everything's always just up in the air, which is totally fine. Whatever. You reevaluate after the end of the year. But this year specifically, if you're not in a position to win the CrossFit Games, I do think you should be signing up for that qualifier or accepting your pro card. So
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking about that today. So
Yeah. And it's interesting. We spoke with Lucy Campbell as well. She declined her pro card too, but she was having more of a hyper focus season in terms of a handful of events that she really wants to perform well. And I think it's kind of a similar boat too. But since you're not participating in it this year, and you did go through every competition last year, what was your honest assessment of WFP season 1? Because it's when they announced it was kind of a hot topic. To me, it kind of felt like a whole bunch of do about nothing, and it's more just like opportunity to compete.
yeah.
And I'm curious what your athlete taken on the execution of it, the goods, the bads, the uglies, the everything in between.
Right. I think the back-to-back weekends, online semis, Indy was nice that it was an online semi into a in-person competition. Back-to-back, like semi stop one, I think would have been a little bit harder. Indy was a ton of fun. I think the general consensus was it was a bit more laid back, knowing it was the first stop. You accumulate points through all of them, and that was nice. It really was. It was a lot of fun. It was highly competitive. Still, everyone's out there trying to get as many points as they can. But the toll of the weekend was pretty low. I would say Mesa honestly felt a bit flat, and I think everyone could agree on that. And I mean, I spoke to a lot of people. It was pretty flat. It's 3 or 4 weeks after the games. The games are a bit more of a beatdown. For me, I also had like the worst day one ever, so that probably didn't help the feeling flat personally. And I think Denmark came out and it blew my socks off. Like that was one of the funnest events of the year, and that made my decision so difficult. And I wish it sucked. So then I was like, see you guys. But it didn't. And so that made my decision hard. I think it was one of the best crowds, similar to like Rogue over there in Europe. It was so much fun. And yeah, I think overall they're going to continue to improve on some of those things. And I think one of the best things that they're going to do this year that I've heard is the point system. I didn't love the point system in Denmark. It was a little bit confusing. I got what they were trying to do, but to have every event is now worth 100 points, and you just carry over points from each event, and then there's just more events in the final. Makes perfect sense, because I think the way it played out was the jerk ended up being worth 50 points, kind of, and then the snatch was worth like 200 is essentially what happened.
Yeah.
And I mean, good on them for changing it. I think that was a good move. So that's one of my favorite changes that they made this year, as well as getting rid of the challenger division. I think you just run as many pros through as you can. It's basically the same workouts anyway. And again, it's just giving more people. You don't know 40th, 45th place in the ranking system going into the stop one could get a top 10 finish. You string a couple of those together, you're getting a pro card. That's going to put you on a pretty good salary for the year, which is cool.
Yeah, sweet.
So then knowing that, the first thing is, the first couple of weeks of the Open, then we go in person to Wadapalooza. You're just doing teams of 3?
Just teams of 3. Yep.
Is that something, I mean, you're a competitor. I know everybody who is a competitor always wants to win, but with where it stands in the season now, what is the mindset? What's the planning? What's the vibe going to be for that? Is it kind of a check-in where the boys are just going to go have fun? Or is it, hey, we're going out and we want to win because that's who we are?
No, we're going to win every single event. I think it's been a long time coming, getting all 3 of us onto a team. I finally got to stand on the podium last year with Team GoWad. Jayson has yet to step on the podium with a team in Miami. I think he's pretty sick of that. I think he's aware that he's been the common denominator to not stepping on the podium because the rest of us have. And I think he's excited for that. And Justin's won with Team GoWad before. We're going to be all together 10 days out from Wadapalooza at the Arnold. And we've all kind of decided those 10 days we'll hit the open workout. And then the plan is to do all the events in full because we'll be together at Rogue. We'll have all the equipment that we'll need. And I think that alone, if you look at the teams that do well, they're able to practice events in full with the team. It give us a huge advantage. So,
yeah. It'll be a nice start to the season,
Absolutely.
You get to drag Jayson along to a podium.
Exactly.
We're talking to him tomorrow, so we'll have to bring that up. Yeah.
One thing about Jayson, sorry, just quick question. Now I'm realizing looking at you, and I know you have blonde hair. I know what color your hair is, but just thinking back of Jayson with his hair at the games, bleached blonde, does he want to be you? Is that where the inspo came from?
I can't answer that.
We'll have to ask him.
I mean, who would, right?
He'll love that question, I'm sure.
I know he will. He's grinding his teeth while we ask.
Lauren won't be here for that interview, so I'll make sure to ask him as well.
I'm giving it to you.
I want to circle back to something you talked about in terms of like training, preparation, longevity, recovery. And I kind of had this thought that I was tossing around in my head a little bit. Do you feel, and I think the answer might be different for men versus women, boys versus girls, do you feel like you're gaining a distinct advantage anymore from your teenage years competing for so long? And has that affected maybe your peak or lifespan in the sport? Because and I'll preface this by saying it has seemed like it has not been a huge advantage on the women's side for longevity.
Right. I think some of the advantages, I think you see it with me and James. James has specifically amplified this the past couple of years, is his pacing and knowing his body. I think we both do a really good job at that. We've been around long enough. We've seen enough workouts. Unfortunately, everyone kind of got smart the last couple of years watching some of that. So it is a little bit harder. There's no one really going out and blowing up quite as much as it used to be in 2021, 2019, whatever it might be. I think that plays a huge role, and also just knowing our bodies and training. And another thing me and Brent spoke about is having that training volume through our whole lives to get to the CrossFit Games and get to the top of the CrossFit Games. You have to put in a lot of volume and a lot of work. And now that we've accumulated that, we probably will never have to do quite as much volume. We can then focus in on intensity and really be intentional with when we bring that 100% effort into our training and how much volume we're doing. So I think that is a huge advantage, but honestly, everyone at the top kind of has that at this point.
So. Yeah. Just because it came into my head because I think I was listening to one of your like videos where you ranked like the people you would go up against that you'd like love to compete or hated to compete against. And Emma Carey's name came up, and it was just a reminder that like, hey, there's another like young stud athlete on the women's side that had success in the teenage divisions that's just not competing anymore.
Right.
And hearing you talk about it, the light bulb kind of went off, and I was curious to get your take on that. But the other side of that is training camps. So you recently moved. What is the plus minus for you in terms of like training camp environment, things you get, things that you maybe aren't the best for an athlete long term, and why the decision to kind of step away from that environment?
Yeah, I think I kind of experienced two different training camps while we were out in Florida. The first one being in Naples with the five of us.
Mhm.
It's chaos, competitive. I always tell everyone, I don't know, you guys probably didn't ever step foot inside the gym, did you? Lauren, did you ever when you were down there?
Into Matt's gym, yeah. Yeah. The
The
one
the one that
sold.
we were in though?
Oh no, I just saw
Okay.
the videos of it. Yeah, yeah,
Man, that thing was tiny. It was
yeah.
so small. And five of the best athletes in the world are in there. And it felt every day, it felt cutthroat. It was eat or be
Mm.
eaten. And it was a ton of fun. Like I loved it. It was chaos. Some days were garbage, but it was fun. It was not sustainable, clearly,
Mm-hmm.
but it was so much fun while we were down there, and I think that helped a lot of us break through in a lot of really great ways. And then there was a different training camp where it was me, Fee, and Matt, and just being up in person with Matt, the two of us, was equally as awesome, just in a very different way. Lots of focus and intentionality and different things, and hanging out and become very close with the people that were up there. And we got Ty and Janie down there for that second year, and that was awesome. And versus being at home, it's me, but I do have people coming out and training, and you guys kind of saw my next 6 weeks. I'm still getting touches with some of these athletes and having mini training camps, if you want to call them that. And I think the reason for coming home was just being close to family and being in the mountains. I was so sick of humidity, and I just wanted to look outside and see the mountains when I'm training and just at home. And it was just time to come home. So that was really the main reason. And Matt's planning on getting out here a bunch, and really we are talking constantly throughout the day, videos, text messages, all that stuff. So nothing's too different, other than it's not immediate eyes on me. But I always tell people that Matt and I think so similarly that if I have a question on a workout, or like, hey, I think I'm going to adjust this, I can almost guess every single time what he's going to change it to. So I feel pretty confident in my ability to adjust things as I need to.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny you mentioned looking outside and seeing mountains. If you grew up in the mountains or grew up with like mountain ranges around, it's such a weird thing to go to somewhere that's flat and look at the horizon and just see a straight line.
But then when you come back, you appreciate it that much more, because every time I see him, I'm just like, wow. And our family's like, man, you guys are obsessed with those. It's like, we didn't have them for 4 years, and you don't realize how lucky you are, like, to see that every day. So yeah.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Exactly.
For sure.
And obviously you want to win the CrossFit Games. You want to win. We've already addressed that. Do you have a goal in mind, though, of I want to win this many times, or I want to get to this point in my career, or this phase in my life? Obviously, we're not talking about retiring in the near future, but do you have any benchmarks like that for yourself when you look at big picture things?
I think before I even get to any of that, I got to do it once. So that's the only thing, not looking past that. And then in terms of, I mean, I never want to miss CrossFit Games while I'm doing this. And as long as I'm happy doing it, then I'll continue to do it. So.
And this is my last question. We appreciate your time. I know you gotta get to something else in just a little bit, but a majority of your life now, I would say, probably close to almost 50% of your life has been spent around training and competing at some level in the sport. What have you noticed about life outside of that has evolved, that has allowed you to stay in it so much? Because I think we see a lot about the athletes that are so hyper focused, and their identity is wrapped up in being an athlete, and they don't water the other buckets and plants in their life to help it grow. What has that been for you in terms of like balance?
Yeah, it hasn't been perfect. Definitely not. I am the type to hyperfixate and spend more time thinking about training than I should be. So it's a constant work in progress. And I don't think any athlete does have that right. They're always trying to figure that out. And it's been trial and error of a bunch of different things over the years, and it comes slowly. So I'm not able to be like, well, this year I did this year I did that. It's just constantly trying different things, and some weeks are better than others when I actually take the time to sit down and just read a book for 20 minutes. Maybe that happens one week, maybe it doesn't. Just constantly tweaking things. And one of the things I'm always working on is minimizing stress, because stress affects training, stress affects recovery. And how can I just, take 20 minutes a day and just feel peace, calm, and, be with family, be with Corinne, whatever it might be. Just always working on that. And I would imagine everybody is. People are always like, man, that's such a cool job. And I was like, yeah, most of the time. And everyone's like, well, yeah, that's how jobs are. So I imagine everyone kind of feels that in a way. And so it's fun. It just happens to be that my stressors aren't paperwork, they're burpees. So
I'd take those over paperwork for sure.
Yeah.
For
sure.
Awesome. Well,
it's always good to hang out with Dallin, and I hope that you continue to eat all of the chocolate scones or the blueberry scones, and tell Corinne that we said hello, and
absolutely,
I want to get some of that sourdough.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. But yeah, as Lauren said, Dallin, thank you so much for taking the time. Obviously, took a while to get schedules coordinated, and stoked for all the things that you got going on in the career. And I'm hoping that at some point you'll get to complete the quadfecta, I guess, of the Boys Interrupted CrossFit Games champions on the podcast. And maybe next time I'm out in Salt Lake visiting Heaves and Mars, I'll have to sneak over.
Let me know. It's easy.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I also owe a big thank you to your Grandma Cloward, I guess.
Oh,
yes. I'm obligated every single time because of the crocheted octopuses that she made my son that he still plays with every single day.
Adorable.
That's awesome. That's awesome. She'll be back this year. So if you're in the crowd at the games this year, keep your eye out. So.
Oh yeah,
we'll find her.
I love it. Well, be well, Dallin. We'll catch you down the line, and thanks again, buddy.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Yep. See you soon.
See ya.
That was Dallin Pepper, everyone. Thanks again to Dallin, as always. He's such a good conversation. We'll be, as I mentioned in the interview, we'll be interviewing Jayson Hopper as well, as they'll be going head to head a little bit alongside Hatfield and Mertens in 26.1. So that'll be fun. Real quick before we go, Lauren, do you have any PRs or no reps?
I'm going to PR the fact that I'm not in cold weather anymore, and I'm going to soak in the sun as long as I possibly can, because it's like in the teens right now at home and snowing. So PR to the good old Naples, Florida weather.
Yeah. I got to know. I'm going to no rep fevers. My kid caught one for the first time, and everyone tried to prepare me. They were like, the first time your kid gets sick, it's the worst. I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe. And he wasn't sick, but he was a little under the weather, and it definitely hits heartbreaking in a different way. But yeah, don't love that. Glad he's all feeling good now. So we're through that. But
poor little guy.
Yeah, that one sucks. And I do. Yeah, I'm gonna save my PR for next week. I'm gonna save it when we have a full squad. But
put it in your pocket.
Yeah. But that's gonna do it for us today here. Thanks again for tuning in and listening to us. Sean will be back next week for our interview with Jayson Hopper. We got that coming down the pipe, and then we're in the open. And then the season is off and rolling. You'll be able to hear Sean on the call for 26.1 as well as 26.3 as well. So some good stuff coming down the pipe. Lauren, where are you traveling this weekend?
I'm going to opening weekend for Tactical Games in Texas, outside of Austin.
Awesome. Be sure to check in with Lauren on Instagram and on the Tactical Games Instagram posts and channels as well to get some updates on that, as that season's kicking off too. Man, lots of stuff going on. For Lauren Kalil, I'm Tommy Marquez. Thanks again, everyone, for listening, and we will talk to you next time.
Like a kiss at the start of a first date. If it's good, I don't want to wait.